Hello, hello. Welcome to Hot Cakes and Hot Takes. Here in the King's Sport Report, let's talk about tonight's game. So here we are. Sacramento versus the Pacers is December 22nd. Okay, so it's Sunday. And, well, we lost again. The third loss, I guess the fourth loss in a row. So this is terrible for the team. First of all, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the game today, but I was watching on TV, and I was in and out of it. But I know you probably only want to hear from people who, watched every minute. But I think what was happening is that in the first quarter, it was going all right. The second quarter, not so bad. But then we sort of got a little bit, the Pacers got a little bit of a lead and we went under. It was about 10 points and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna give it a break. Usually I stay in the game and I just keep watching and I'm like, hoping and like cross my fingers for good things to happen. And it didn't happen. So regardless of whatever I did, they got just too big of a lead there. And in a moment, we'll talk to my mom about what she saw because my mother was at the game today. And she went with her husband, so they're gonna have a lot more to say about what was going on there in the audience, what they liked, what they didn't like, and the perception from somebody who was at the game. So right now, I will say, what they were talking about is, well, I would say that what they were talking about was mostly about the loss. We, for some reason when I watch on TV, it's always about, oh, how could this have happened? How could that happen in the tragedy of the loss? I don't hear anything positive. So I want to talk to you today about what I feel like can be done instead and why I think that way. What I saw a lot was that in this particular game and the last game was that I talked about this before. There's no balance. There has to be some balance from defense to offense. I see a lot of energy lost when they're really up on defense and they're really preventing those shots from the other team. And then they go to the offense and they're like, I don't know if they're losing stamina there or if they're just, can't make the switch from defense to offense. And that would be like saying they can't play, right? Because they've been doing this for years. From one end to the other, it's like switching cha-cha to rumba. It's a difficult thing, but professionals have to be able to do it. That's what we do in dancing, cha-cha to rumba, 30 seconds. And that's about all they have sometimes from one end to the other is 30 seconds. And so I think I'm relating it to dancing because in the WDSF, why it's more considered to be more athletic is because there's a lot of the stop and go, really sharp movements to really like artistic glide and slow motions, So there's a word for that and I can't think of it right now. Anyway, the WDSF dancers are well trained for that purpose. So that they could take cha-cha into a rumba and they could take a paso into a jive, and it's got to be a split of a second. So professionals should be able to do this. And the fact that they're talking about it like it's, or that I've noticed, I don't think they said that really, I'm saying it, but that I've noticed that there's some difficulty making that switch from one end to the next. It seems almost amateurish. Now, I said I wouldn't say anything negative, and I want to talk about the positive points. But I think the positive is that, yes, the defense is way, way better. But it was so good in the last two games against the Lakers. Against the Pacers, one of the problems, I think, was that one of our ex-players was on their team. And, it's the good guys against the good guys, really. The Pacers are really nice guys, right? They're nice guys. They got somebody who used to be, whose parents wanted him to be a priest or something, right? I mean, they're good guys, and we're good guys, and Sacramento's a good town, and we like good people, and so there's some, something about it that's like, when good guys goes against good guys, whose team do you want to be on? Like, what are we doing here? But one team has to, take the step up and be like, you know what? It's the game. We just got to do it. And tonight, the Pacers were the ones that did that, unfortunately. But I think that, honestly, the Kings were just tired. They were beat in the last two games. We can have all the faith in them that we have. But human beings are just human beings, period. Pro athletes are, children. They're just people, and it's been a rough week, to say the least. Plus, it's Christmas. Everybody wants to win badly during Christmas. The Christmas blues are also hitting everybody. The Christmas blues are hit harder, right? So we're losing Lakers, the week of Christmas. Then we got another team coming in, the Pacers, and we're like, whoa. And just super, super down. I'm betting that's part of it. It's just the Christmas blues. It just takes some time to get over it. I think what they need is just a minute of rest. And I think for a lot of them, over a couple of them, they got kids. A lot of kids. To me, 2 kids is a lot of kids. I used to teach dance to kids, and I interned for infants, and we're allowed like 12 kids in the room at a time. It's a lot. Even when there's just 2 to 4 kids, it's like, and we have to do it for like 8 hours, but they have to do it all night. And as instructors, we don't want to take these kids home. Actually, I won't say that. I'll be nice here, because the actual truth is we do. We want to take them home sometimes. Sometimes we wish the kids were ours. But the reality is we don't know how to do that. I don't have kids. Most instructors are like barely 18, 20 years old, and they don't have kids, so, it's just the fantasy that we, in the future, we will have kids. And, we love these kids. But yeah, that's a side point. So they have kids, they're tired, right? We get it. Dads have just as much responsibility as the females, and it would be like ridiculous to think that Fox and DeMarcus, Fox and Sabonis are, I don't know, some of the others have kids, but that they're forcing their wives to do all of the child rearing work at home, and that they're just not being there. It would be ridiculous to think that. I mean, they're probably really good dads, I would imagine, but we're not home with them. And anyway, that's how we like to think of them, right? They're, and you can't just expect the wives to take over and do everything for them to be the greatest basketball players either. I mean, family is family, and your job is your job. So, they have that, and family life is like having another job, but we don't think about it that way all the time, And when you don't think about it, you don't think about how much rest you're not getting. So they need to rest. They need, and I think that you can rest. You can rest when you have kids, when, they're awake and they're being rowdy. One of the things that I did when I was working with kids is what I understood about myself that was different, or about dancers that was different. Dance instructors different from most of their teachers who were happy with their jobs. There were a lot of dance instructors that were not happy. They hated it. Like, they were like, I wish I was teaching adults. I wish I was doing something else. I'm going to go to college and get another career. And then there were those that loved dancing and loved teaching. And So I'll tell you why it was easy for me is that I got a lot of joy. The kids' joy. Even, when kids are being rowdy for no reason, they're just crying, they're just having a fit for no reason. That's them secretly having fun toying with your emotions. And so it brings a smile to my face sometimes when I know that they're doing that on purpose. Like, you're not getting me today. No. So yeah, you can put that joy inside of yourself even when they're being rowdy, because that energy that your own kids have, they get from you because you're energetic, because your wife is energetic. That's, whatever they do. Their low times, their slow times, their fast times, their hard times. How they deal with that, especially when they're really young, is a reflection of yourself, right? So you have to take it in as a positive, and that'll feed your energy. It all feeds your energy. It's like hard to handle being around the kids when they're being rowdy. That puts in negative energy, and it's all here. You don't want the negative energy. You want the positive energy, but you have to create that because they don't know what they're doing. Even if they do, the reality is they're new to this, right? And the only way to teach them the proper ways of doing things is to do it yourself. So you bring in the positive energy. That way when you sleep, it's a much better sleep, and you wake up feeling better, regardless of you get 3 hours, 6 hours, or 10 hours, right? I don't know how many of them are really getting 10 hours of sleep, but it is the holidays, so they might be able to, right? So yeah, I will say that. And let's move on to another topic. Is not another topic, but another thing about stamina. Now, a lot of people may look at me and go, I don't even know about stamina. You're like 160 pounds. I put on a lot of weight, and there's a lot of reasons why I put on a lot of weight. That's none of your business. If you care, leave me a comment. I'll talk about it some other time. But I do discuss my weight on some of the other shows. But I want to talk about what I know about stamina as a group fitness instructor with, certifications and in fitness and in dancing. As a dancer, dancers aren't really advised to run because they could trip and fall, they could ruin their legs, it's overuse, etc. But there's a lot of different exercises that we do. And for what we do, the work for sprinting, fast switches and changes is a very different thing. But basketball players, you would think it's the sprint, right? Back and forth, back and forth. They're running. They need to run. They need to have the stamina to go for long periods of time really fast. That's why we see those people on those treadmills that go really fast. Honestly, I feel like that invention is very dangerous. I don't know that I like that exercise, that people do that so much. But it's becoming very popular. A lot of people, athletes do it. And I feel like, if something goes wrong, it could be terrible and damage a whole career, right? So I don't know. I don't like it really, but there is that. You have to go at your fastest pace for longer periods of time to create that stamina and do other sort of athletic or cardio work for longer periods of a time at a time. Because what I'm seeing here is a drop in energy from one side to the next. This is just basketball in general, okay? Honestly, I'm not a basketball coach, but if I were the coach, I would understand that that's what's happening from a distance. That's what we see. And you work on your defense. The defense is great. Defense is awesome. I love it. You can always improve everything. And, you know, we also need bigger players. So that will really help us on defense, but they have to be fast as the rest of the guys. It's a difficult thing, I would imagine, trying to find somebody that fits in that group. They need to run faster, longer, and they also need to find the balance. So from one side to the next, when they go on offense, you have to work on those skills. I think are better the point guard, Fox, and some of the other players. They're really good at making those shots most of the time, but it has to be all of the time. Missing a couple of shots in a game is one thing, but lately we've been seeing them miss like every shot for a full quarter, and it's craziness. We never want to question, why are you professional? And I won't say that that's what we're doing. I'm not doing that, at least. It's, there was a time in the history of the Kings, I would say even like 10 years ago, when we were questioning how the players on the team really got there. It was like, are these players for real? But they were looking for something. They were going for something in particular. And I think they found it now. We're now a playoff team. We've been there once. It doesn't mean we're not a one-hit wonder here. Sacramento is not made of one-hit wonders. That's not what I do. That's not what anybody else does here. We're here to win. The business people, I know many business owners that have been in business for 40 years, just as long since they started the same business. Been here for a long time. You say that about any city, but there's a lot of them here. There's this business, I'll talk about it since we're in Sacramento. If you Sacramentans know this place. It's so funny to me. They lasted through quarantine and everything. I can't even imagine. There's this place called, it's Oscar's Very Mexican Restaurant, as if every other restaurant is not very Mexican. And I sort of I don't know the owner of that place, because I probably went there when I was a little kid, but I don't remember it. And it's been there for a long time. It's in West Sacramento. You can go look it up. I'm not really trying to promote businesses. I'm not paid by them. I don't know them. But it's just the name is almost offensive, okay? But people go there. It's been open and it lasted through court. It's still there. The sign is still there. I've been to places. I won't say where this is, but I've been to places shopping for Mexican food and have seen people walk in with guns in their gun holsters, and not really threatening anybody, but they just walk in and it's like, and those places have been in business for long periods of time. I'm not saying that there's like a gang that's holding on to them or anything like that. I think it was just for safety because of the area that it was in, or maybe what they do for work. I don't know really, but I've seen that a few times in that particular place, and people go there. Every time I go there, it's so busy. It's so busy. I go there, and but these businesses have been here for a very, very long time. And questioning whether or not Sacramento is built of winners is not a question. We're here. We've been here a long time. We want our team to reflect the people in the city and how we are. So we may have lost 4 games in a row, Not that it's never been done before, but I think they're just a little bit tired and they can come out of it, and maybe it's this, that if you're losing at home, just like if you take something away from somebody, it ends up on the other side, right? If you take it, you have it. When they take it, they have it. So if you're losing at home, you're probably gonna win when you're away. And if that's the way it's working, so what? I think so many people want the energy to be here, but we gotta root for them wherever they are. So they're gonna go out of town, they're gonna do their thing, and we'll see how that's working. People talk about jet lag, and it's harder to work as a player, as an athlete, with all the flying that they have to do. But I actually heard somebody on this team, and I can't remember who it was, but I think it was last year, somebody on this team said that they like the traveling. The traveling works for them, that it's a lot of alone time. They get to spend some time in their own heads and listen to music and get themselves worked up, and traveling doesn't bother them. So I hope that for all of the players, especially those that have children. And I would think that maybe they're waiting for it because they need that break, not just for Christmas, but from their families. I would think, But win or lose, we have to take it in as something to learn from. This is a learning process all the way, because we've not won the playoffs, but we want to get to the playoffs. And then when we get there, it's another learning process. How do we win the playoffs? And we've really only been there once. It was like one game. It was sad. And we were sad about it. It was not just heartbreaking, but the violence behind it was like maddening. We were mad, and perhaps they're a little scared. Maybe the psychology behind that is that they're a little scared of getting in the playoffs because they're so worn out already. They don't want to get beat up, So it's a little bit of a trauma, I will say, that can happen to a player, to a professional athlete. It's a little bit of trauma. I mean, we gotta admit it. Fans aren't thinking. We want them to win, but there's other things going on here. This is something to think about. Your kids in sports go through it. Adults aren't so different, right? So there's that. And we just met the Lakers. The Warriors coming into town. Sabonis is limping. I mean, it's coming on pretty fast and pretty hard, and we have to work through it and find the best way to deal with this. Let's hear what Mom has to say about the game.
Hi, Xochitl. I'm here in the hotel lobby, the Residence Inn, downtown Sacramento. Scott and I went to the Indiana Pacers versus Kings game, and the Kings suffered a horrific loss, worst loss of the season. The fans were actually booing the Kings, which is the first I've heard in a very, very, very long time. It was a disappointing loss, to say the least.